purpose of this video is to provide a resource for the customers to be able to understand and utilize the water meter to see if they have any leaks. The center little star here, it'll spin around and we'll represent that. We'll turn it on a little bit. If you see this little star going around at any given time and you're not using any water, that's classified as a leak indicator for the meter. You can turn around and see, and then you can time it to see how much water you're leaking by, just timing how many dots it goes by, and then calculate that out for one whole revolution is 7.48 gallons to give you your gallons per minute leakage. The meters have a memory in them. They're computerized, so they track and keep storage of the customer's usage up to 6 months. The Missoula water technician can go out if a customer has any questions associated to how much water they have used and why they use the water at a certain amount of time, and data log the meter and download the information off the meter to tell them how much water they use at a certain time, especially if they had a leak. If they left the hose running or whatever, it stores the information down to every hour. Basically, what you start to find out whether it's leaking or not is you look around at your residence, whether if you have a separate shutoff valve for your irrigation system, start with that if it's in the summertime. Shut that valve so the irrigation system's completely shut off, and then check the meter and see if it's still spinning or not. So what I'm going to do is show you how you can test your toilet, if it's leaking or not. Main thing what you can do is that after you looked at your water meter, you looked at the leak indicator and it was spinning, so you understand there's something leaking in the house or possibly outside. So first thing you do is you start with your toilets to see if they're leaking. What you do is you come to the toilet first and you listen to see if you hear a leak noise with that. You can turn around after that, you pull the top of the tank lid off, and you end up putting a little dye tablet in, and you wait a few minutes to see if that coloring comes into the bowl, which indicates that the flapper valve that fills and lowers the toilet is leaking. And I'll do that now. I'll pull the lid off. You drop it in there, and then what you do is that you end up just looking at, you have to look inside the toilet, and then after, usually it takes up to anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes to see if it starts coming through. If you don't have, we have these tablets here that you could use, but the other thing you could do, be able to do this, is using just food coloring. Drop some food coloring in the tank, it'll act faster, and it'll show up into the bowl whether it's got a leak or not. So as you can see, now the water's starting to turn blue. You can see the coloring from the tablet coming into the bowl. So indicating that the toilet is leaking, which is hard to hear, but that's running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you figure if that's only doing a half a gallon a minute, if it's leaking even a half a gallon a minute at 40 minutes in a day, there's 700 gallons that's leaking down the toilet a day, which represents about $1.91 per day it's leaking. That's why the water bill went up. The other thing you could do is a quick reference that if you want to check all your toilets is you can turn around and shut the shutoff valve to the toilet and then go back to the meter and see if that stopped. And do that for each toilet and leaving them off, and to find out what toilet is leaking is another quick reference. The other thing you need to do is when you pull the lid off is that the adjustment arm for filling up the tank, sometimes the tank will fill up too much and go over the overflow. And what you end up having to do is you got to look at the little overflow tube here and make sure the water is at least 1.5 inches, 2 inches below that overflow tube. Some of the tanks do have fill lines. They try to tell you to keep it at a certain level. But some of the older tanks do not. It's just a good reference to try to keep 1 inch to 2 inches below the top of the tube. When you first start your irrigation system up, check it. Because sometimes in the wintertime, if the irrigation system doesn't get blown out, you'll have leaks on it. The actuators will leak or that, so it's nice to check it. Also check it, especially if you're going to go away for a little bit, you check it. Make sure that it's not turning, you have no leaks before you go on vacation, because you never know what will happen when you come back. So if you suspect you have low pressure, you have issues or whatever, the best thing to do is contact our office, call 552-6700, and they'll put you through dispatch and schedule an appointment to have a service technician come out and help you out with any concerns. You can also go to the website, Missoula Water website, and that has some question and answers and helpful hints on conservation, leak detection, and they help you out. When you make a service call, an appointment with us, we say we're going to be there at 2 o'clock, we're there at 2 o'clock, if not 5 minutes to. We don't give a range. We don't give from 8 to 12 or 1 to 5. We give an exact time when we're there. 99% of the time, the service technician shows up 5-10 minutes early.